Hello and welcome to the Halloween Podcast, your source for Halloween news, ghost stories, nostalgia, and spooky history. I'm your host, Meghan Cunningham.
And I am Lyle Perez.
Hello, Lyle. So today we thought it would be fun to use some of Lyle's outside the Halloween Podcast skills. For those of you who don't know, Lyle is a businessman. He has several different businesses, and he is also a realtor.
I am, here in Tennessee.
We thought we would tap into some of his realtor knowledge to theoretically help us make sure that when we are searching for a new home to either rent or buy, we are finding ourselves in a place where we are able to live our best Halloween lifestyle. I had seen some posts on social media where people who had previously had lots of trick-or-treaters and big yard displays moved to the home of their dreams only to realize there were no trick-or-treaters, never have been, and they're unlikely to be able to enjoy Halloween in the same way that they previously had. And there was some definite buyer's remorse there.
Yeah.
So that sort of made me think, wow, what would you need to do to try to make sure that when you move, you can still live your best spooky 365 lifestyle, or at the very least, your best Halloween lifestyle on Halloween night. So right. Lyle's going to help us out with that. Thank you,
yes,
Lyle.
I will try to do the best I can. I've been an agent for about, 6 years now here in Tennessee, and no one has ever asked me anything Halloween related while buying a house. They've never asked me if a house is haunted at all. I've never had any of those types of questions roll through. So it's really not something that is active, I guess, or at least the people that I've talked to. I mean, I've talked to hundreds of potential buyers and sellers, and not once has that come up. But of course, I'm in Tennessee. I'm in a small town, and I'm in the South, so it's very. I'm in the Bible Belt, so not many of the older residents do celebrate the Halloween. But of course, the younger crowd's coming in, and man, they're all for it, which is good. Which is
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you have a co-host who's slightly crazy and from New England. Where people
slightly?
Do ask those questions. Okay. Moderately crazy.
Yeah. That's why I chose you. That's why I chose you.
In the best possible way, we hope.
Yes.
So anyway, we do think of these questions because we have a lot of first period homes here, and they come with quirks and sometimes with roommates that you didn't expect.
Yeah.
So we're going to also discuss how to avoid or hedge your bets so that you may someday be able to own your very own haunted house, too. So that we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But for now, we'll start with the Halloween question. So, Lyle, if I am buying a house, how do I tell if a neighborhood that I want to move into gets many trick-or-treaters?
Well, if you ask your agent, chances are they're not from that area unless you happen to find a house that is in the neighborhood that they live in. If somebody were to ask me, because the house that's next door to me is up for sale. So if I were to ever show that house and somebody says, hey, Lyle, do you know if this area gets many trick-or-treaters? And I'll say, I can tell you that firsthand because I live right there and we do not get any trick-or-treaters here. So if that's high on your list, then chances are you won't get many trick-or-treaters here. But now that there's going to be two of us that love Halloween, we can definitely turn my whole cul-de-sac into a Halloween adventure, and people will flood in. But I live in a cul-de-sac, so it'd be like one way in, one way out. So can't really have too many people there because they won't have a way to get out because there's no through street. But you can definitely try asking the agent that. They will probably not be able to answer it for you, but your next thing would probably be is to see if there's a neighbor outside mowing their lawn when you're at the house. go up to that neighbor and say, "Hey, how's it going? I'm thinking of buying this house. Don't think I'm weird, but do you guys get many trick-or-treaters here?" And they're going to be like, "It's summer. What are you talking about? Halloween." So
Hey, it
that
is a
would be,
great way to get to know the new neighbors or
yeah.
to let them know you.
Yeah, that would be one way. Another way too is like you can always drive around that area during October, but of course that houses aren't, they don't really stay all year for you to drive around. But if you're moving to an area, let's say you're moving to a different area in the same town, then you would probably already know the places that would be, good to trick or treat, especially me since I have kids. But if you go outside the town, if you're like, I live in Savannah, so I can tell you in Savannah where the where the trick or treaters go because I'm here. I've been through many Octobers here, so I can kind of see. But if you were to look for a house in Adamsville or in Selmer, I don't live in those areas. I've never been in those areas during Halloween, so I don't really know.
So would you say it's worth doing your homework? So I know here in New England, because we get a lot of snow, real estate agents like to take people around home buying in the summer because everything looks leafy and your backyard looks really private and it's nice. And then fall comes, all the leaves are gone and you're covered in snow. And maybe that nice long driveway that looked beautiful in the summer looks less appealing because it's covered in 5 feet of snow. And maybe your neighbor is actually right up against the back of your house, but you couldn't see it because there were leaves there in the summer.
Right.
So similar, they tend to sort of say here among people, not real estate agents, but people will say, oh, well, before you go jumping on something, make sure you look at it in the winter too.
Yeah.
Would it be an idea if you have the time to wait and you're not super pressed? Like, would it be a good idea to maybe, as you say, in October, drive around, see what the lay of the land is?
Yeah.
Before pulling the trigger on buying.
Yeah. Well, that's why, I'm actively right now going to move to a different state, but we're doing it years from now because we want to go during different times of years. We've been there during the summer, been there during the spring. We need to go during the fall. We need to go during the winter so we can kind of see what it's like in that area at that time. Because you don't get that sense if you're not, if you don't live there. Like I can't,
absolutely.
I can explain how the weather is like here in Savannah, but until you experience it yourself, you go, okay, well, that makes now sense. I understand now.
Yes.
So it's kind of one of those things where if we're looking at it as we want to live in an area, but we don't necessarily need to be at a certain house. So if we're checking out the area and we're making sure that this area is nice, and then we look for the area that we want to be in, and then we just sit and wait for a house to pop up. And then we go and look at it. If it's something we like, great. If not, we just sit and wait. So we have time on our hands. Yeah. But as far as like Halloween goes, me personally, I like decorating. I love it. I don't have to do it because I have the podcast, and the podcast keeps me in the Halloween theme the whole year.
But it would be nice if you could.
It would be nice if I could, but again, you would have to worry about how much rain are you going to get in that area. Is there going to be any like snow in that area at that time, which is very unlikely, but it could happen. You never know.
Well, we definitely had Halloweens where it snowed. Yeah, when I was a kid, absolutely.
And decorations are going to get ruined. You could have severe thunderstorms that roll through. Decorations are going to be flying everywhere if they're not properly stapled down. That's one thing that I did think about Oklahoma, is that it is very windy. So I'm like, all right, if we get a house that I can decorate at, then I'm going to make sure everything's like staked, because if not, it's going to end up in the neighbor's yard.
Insurance on your 12-foot skeleton.
Yes. But the thing is, if anything were to fall from or come out of my area into a neighbor's and damages it, then I'm going to be responsible for that because it is mine. So that's one of the things you got to think about.
That needs to be in a film. If there are any filmmakers listening and you're a film, there needs to be a tornado and a 12-foot skeleton needs to come flying out of that thing.
Yeah. See who's responsible.
People's lawns now that I feel like that's plausible.
Yeah. So just talk to your locals that are in the area, and that would be your best bet to get a definitive answer. Preferably somebody who's been there years. If you get somebody who's like, last year it was great, but then the previous years were terrible. So
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that the following year is going to be good.
So, presuming that the realtor says no, or the neighborhood, whoever you speak to mowing their yard says no, we don't get any trick-or-treaters, could you then turn around and ask the realtor, or how would you find out, like, where's the nearest trick-or-treat neighborhood, or where's the nearest trunk-or-treat? Is that a thing that's done? Where would you find that information?
Well, that a lot of the times we have like the Facebook groups and stuff for the area. Mm-hmm. Usually, like everyone that I know, if they're moving to an area, they're going to find the Facebook groups that are from that area, the community boards and all of that stuff. And people post stuff all the time there. Town halls will have a lot of posts like that. They'll have the post office will have like a bulletin board that you can go and look to see if there's anything happening. You can talk to the locals. Real estate agents, like if somebody were to ask me that, I would know where to send them to, because again, I'm in Savannah and Savannah puts on its own thing. So I can tell them where to go on Main Street, and they do a whole trunk or treat thing there where kids line up. I've done it before, so I know they do it. I know it's there. Most churches will definitely do it as well. Agents will definitely know all of those things. So getting an answer for that would be a lot easier than something that's more specific to a certain area.
That makes sense. Okay. So here's another big one. Is there a homeowners association that might restrict or object to my decorations? And if there are restrictions, what are they?
That is a good question, because that does happen quite a bit. HOAs are governed by private entities. They're private. They're not from the state. So an HOA, you're agreeing to those terms as far as if there's anything in there that says you can't decorate. And when I think of decorations and stuff, I don't really necessarily, my first thought isn't Halloween decorations. It's Christmas decorations. A lot more people decorate for Christmas than they do any other holiday. Christmas is probably number one on decorations. So a lot of the HOA covenants or rules won't necessarily be Halloween, but they'll be like holidays in general. Like, how long can my 12-foot skeleton be in my front yard? How long can that be there? I don't know. Can I leave it up there all year long and then just keep changing the different costumes?
The design,
now it's no longer a Halloween costume. Now it's a Thanksgiving costume, because I put a pilgrim hat
turkey on its head,
and now I put a Santa hat on it. Now it's a Christmas decoration. Like, those types of ordinances will definitely be in there, specifically. Like, but you could also get in trouble with that type of stuff too, because you can't. Cities and stuff can't infringe on people's rights. So there has been numerous times where cities have gotten sued for things like that. But we'll get into that later. But Halloween and Christmas and all different holidays, they all get governed by the same types of restrictions as far as like, what's inside the HOA ordinances. And a lot of the HOAs are really strict with a lot of stuff. Can't do this, can't do that. My wife used to work for a HOA management company, and it's rough, a lot of the stuff. So whenever we're looking for houses now, we don't look at anything in an HOA at all.
Yeah,
and if you want to avoid like not being able to keep up your 12-foot skeleton up all year long, don't get a house in an HOA. Just look in the city. The city ordinances are usually a lot more lenient because they don't want to infringe on your rights.
Yeah, they don't want to end up getting sued.
They will get sued for certain things if they try to really put in a lot of restrictions and ordinances. But of course, they have their normal ones like noise. If you have like a 12-foot skeleton that's constantly blaring out who knows what, like obviously that falls more into a noise
the new
ordinance.
Ones talk.
Yeah, that will fall into that.
That should be interesting.
Also, too, like projectors and things like that could also be distracting for drivers. So if it becomes a nuisance or if it becomes some type of a distraction, they could
under safety measures or something ask you to remove it.
They could, but that's kind of still far-fetched because they can't infringe on somebody else's rights because somebody else's rights or feelings are hurt. So they can't really like it's tough because one way or another somebody's going to complain, and one way or another somebody's rights are going to be infringed on.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Okay. So basically, if you are moving into a neighborhood and you want a HOA for other reasons, just make sure you ask all the questions of the HOA in advance and read the fine print carefully.
Yeah. Well,
is your best bet.
I'll mention it briefly, but there was a here in Tennessee, we have a town called Germantown, and there was a lawsuit at one point because of a skeleton that was left out. The homeowner, they decorated a giant skeleton for many different holidays. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I have a 12-foot skeleton out in my the front of my store, but I don't live I live in town, but this town is not recognized as a town, so it's just unincorporated. So I don't have restrictions. I can put whatever I want in my front as long as it's not as long as it doesn't cause any harm to anybody. I can just go ahead and do it.
Yes.
But this person was in a town. The city came and said, "Hey, you can't do this." And they said, "Yes, I can. This is part of my First Amendment right, my freedom of speech. I'm expressing myself." So it turned into a lawsuit. Ultimately, the city lost, and they had to pay, I don't remember what it was, some undisclosed amount probably of
and
damages.
they got to keep whatever it was up.
And they got to keep the skeleton up. So 1 point for Halloween.
Wow. And they used that money to buy another skeleton. No.
Yeah, probably.
So the other question that I was thinking is, in terms of decorations, does a property come with a functional basement or outbuilding where I can safely store my decorations at a season?
Yeah, that is definitely something that you as a potential buyer would have to look for. If you want outbuildings.
But if I said to like a realtor, can you find me? Is that a thing that you could do if I said I had to have a property that had a basement or an outbuilding for my decoration?
Yeah, I mean, we can search for houses that have basements or for if they have sheds or things like that. We can definitely search for that type of stuff. But again, it would really depend on a lot on your area. Here in Tennessee, it gets very humid. It gets very hot. So we have like those metal sheds everywhere. And if those, there's no insulation in those unless you insulate them. So you're going to get moisture in there. There's no way of avoiding it. It's going to mildew. It's going to mold. It's the South. It's wet. It rains. If you leave something outside, there is going to get mold on it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is what it is. Basements, we can check for basements. We can check for any type of garage space or anything like that. But again, that would probably be more beneficial on your side looking for a house if you go on Zillow or Realtor.com or anything like that. So you would want to only look for houses that can accommodate that. You don't want to look for a 1,500 square foot home in the middle of town with no garage and no outbuildings. Like that's probably not going to work for you. That won't work. So it would be like a lot of the times, most of the time when I help somebody, I rarely ever find houses for them. They usually come with their own. Zillow has made it so much easier. Realtor.com has made it really easy for people to search for houses in the area that are up for sale, and then they'll send me a message and say, "Hey, what do you think about this house?" They're like, "Well, I mean, it looks fine to me, but I'm not the one buying it, so we can go look at it if you want."
Your fine and my fine are two different things.
Yes. So if that's what you're looking for, we can definitely go take a look at it. So if you need a lot of space, obviously look for houses that can accommodate all of your decorations. But make sure they're, you got to have climate control. Because if you don't, again, you'll end up with mold depending on where you are. Things like that. Okay.
And here's one going back to our episode on banned Halloween. So does this town or county have any Halloween related restrictions? And if so, what are they? Is that something a realtor could answer for you? And if not, where would you find that?
Yes and no, because most places won't really have any Halloween laws. Again, all of that stuff will fall under like holidays. How long can I set off fireworks during the 4th of July? Like that will definitely have an ordinance because they're loud. There's noises. If it becomes too much of a congestion, like if there's too much, like if I were to build a haunted attraction at my house, I live in a cul-de-sac. It's going to be very hard for people to come in and out. That can become unsafe. If a fire breaks out, how are people going to get out? Like that type of stuff will get restricted. Not necessarily that it's Halloween related. It's because it's causing some type of a nuisance to the area.
I'm thinking more in terms of like trick-or-treating curfews or age limits on trick-or-treating, kind of like when we had the Halloween is banned episode.
That was my next point. Curfews. Curfews are definitely a thing sometimes for kids, but of course the curfew is only if you're by yourself. If you are trick-or-treating with an adult, then obviously you're with the adult, and the adult can, I can raise my kid however I want to. If I want my kid to be out there at 12, then we're out there at 12. So they can definitely do curfews for kids that are not supervised. Sign ordinances can also be an issue too. If people are putting up too much sign, like Halloween signs, you can't put a lot of them in city limits. So, but that goes with anything. Political signs, they could only put them in certain areas. But they can't really, you can't really restrict anybody from trick-or-treating or going into somebody's pathway to their house. Like that is called, I don't know, I'm not 100% sure what it's called, but there is some type of a public easement that if it's the walkway to get to your door, I can walk to your door. I can use that freely. But if I'm hassling you, then obviously I can't be there. Like that's why police can go and knock on your door and ask certain questions, but they can't go in your residence. They can't. But if you tell them to leave, you don't want them on the porch, then they would have to leave. That's why they put no soliciting signs on their door. The solicitor can definitely walk up to the door. We have rights to do that. But if the homeowner does not want to speak to me, then I would just leave. Kind of the same thing with different ordinances. So trick-or-treating is basically that. You're walking into somebody's area, you're knocking on their door, but you're not really soliciting. Well, you kind of are. You're soliciting candy.
You want soliciting candy.
Yeah. So, but if the person is knowingly doing that, like we know what trick-or-treating is. It's not like somebody's going to open the door and say, "What are you guys doing?" Be like, "I'm trick-or-treating."
It's not a mystery.
They're not going to say like, "I don't know what trick-or-treating is." Well, who knows? Maybe somebody that has never dealt with it before. But I would say 99.9% of all people will know what trick-or-treating is, what day it happens on, and what they can do to restrict it if they don't want it. You turn your porch light off, and it's like an unwritten rule. We all know the light. If the light isn't on, you don't go over there. Like respect their property and just don't do it. But then you get into different stuff like fog machines. Can I have fog machines at my house? You could, but as long as it doesn't,
that is a legit question.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't become a nuisance to the neighbors, that is when the issues start.
Public safety problem.
Yeah, because my property is here, but I don't own the air. So if the air starts misting into the neighbors and it's choking them out, obviously I can't have it on anymore. That's not to say that the Halloween is banned. That's just to say that you're not a jerk. What is that doing should not be causing danger to anybody else. So and decorations can't block sidewalks or things like that. So that is another thing that cities can say, hey, you can't have these here because this is a public sidewalk. It's not your property anymore. You can move it to your property, but you just can't have it in the walkway.
That's like when I worked for the post office. If like Christmas decorations or Halloween decorations or whatever block your mailbox or the mail carrier's path to your mailbox, you will not be getting any mail. You will have to go pick it up at your local post office. Because it's your responsibility to keep the path to your mailbox safe and clear for that person. So it's a lot of these things aren't necessarily Halloween based. They're just like in general holiday type deals. The same rules will apply for Christmas, like for anything Christmas related or any other holiday. It all just still applies. Okay. So that is all of the questions that I could think of that were specifically related to Halloween. Was there anything else that you wanted to add to that point?
Not really. Just if you're looking for a place that is big on Halloween, it would pretty much be your responsibility to find where you want to go. Kind of like what we're doing. I don't have an agent in Oklahoma. I am an agent here in Tennessee, so I kind of already know what to do. I already know, I can talk to the city. I can go in and ask them if there's how does the water get here, or how is there natural gas here? Do I need to get a propane tank? So those are all just questions that you as a homeowner need to think of. What do I use in my daily life? And go and do your due diligence and find out those questions. Because a lot of the times the only thing agents are really supposed to do, we have a form called the disclaimer that basically says that I am a lowly real estate agent, and that's it. The only thing I can give you advice on is buying and selling this home. I am not an electrician. I am not a surveyor. I am not a foundation expert. If you have any of those types of questions, you need to direct them to the person that's
sort of professional.
Yes, that is that professional. Because to me, you could ask me about electrical stuff, and I'll be like, yeah, sure. This place has never caught on fire, so I guess the electrical stuff is fine. That's about the extent of my knowledge. So if you take that to heart and the house burns down because there's an electrical fire, that can go back to me, and the person will be like, well, Lyle told me that the electrical was fine. And I'll be like, no, I didn't. There's a form that you signed right here that says if you have any electrician questions, you need to direct them to an electrician. And you signed it.
So
you
get those inspections, folks. Get those inspections.
Yeah, inspections are another. They're not really another hassle, but they are tough
because other layer of stuff.
Any house that you can think of is going to have an issue with it.
Of course,
It's going to be small. It's going to be big. Who knows? Here in the South, again, it's wet. It's rainy. Stuff mildews, stuff molds. We have a lot of crawl spaces, so there's always going to be some type of a fungus. I don't think. I have the down below. I've never done a home. I've never had somebody do a home inspection that there was not the line that there is some type of a fungus underneath the house. It's been in every single house, and every single time the homeowner gets like they fixate on that, and I tell them like I've been doing this for many years. Every single one I've ever had has always had some type of a fungus. They can't say it's mold. You have to say it's some type of a fungus because they can't claim it's mold. Even home inspectors can't really say that type of stuff because what if somebody tests it and it's not mold? What if it's just something else? And then they go, well, that guy told me it was mold. They're like, no, that guy said it was some type of a fungus. Like, we don't know what it is.
He didn't tell you specifically what it was.
Yeah. Again, if you want to know for sure, you need to go down there, you need to swab it, and you need to send it to an expert who can tell you. Because
or
home
hire
inspectors
an expert to do all those things for 300 times the price.
Yeah. Home inspectors, they aren't professionals in everything. They just know a little bit about everything that can give you pointers. But specifically, we can't give specifics in a lot of these things. So a lot of these questions, if somebody were to ask me, I would have to tell them all to just do their own due diligence.
Yeah.
And you got to figure it out on your own, because if I say something like, yeah, this place gets tons of trick-or-treaters, because I think they do, then 3 years from now, somebody will be like, well, Lyle sold me this house and said I was going to get trick-or-treaters. I didn't get any trick-or-treaters. So now I'm going to sue Lyle because I did not get my trick-or-treaters. And I'd be like, well, if that's
just
the case,
from my point of view, like, I would nearly rather ask the neighbors, because if you're thinking of buying this house, like, these are going to be your neighbors. You're going to be living next to them. So you better get used to talking to them and seeing them.
Yeah. It's not my neighbor, so I don't know.
It's a great way to meet people and see, are the neighbor, like, that tells you a lot of things. That tells you, are there any trick-or-treaters? It also tells you, are the neighbors nice? Are they, you learn a lot from just speaking to people, I think.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to shift gears slightly, Lyle. So if I were looking to either avoid dead ghostly roommates, or if I was really keen to own my very own haunted house, is that something that I could speak to a realtor about? So if you're house hunting and you're hoping your realtor will warn you about ghosts and things, it's my understanding that you might be a little bit disappointed.
Yes.
So you might have to like ask questions yourself. So is that the case?
Well, if somebody were to actively look for a haunted house, I don't think I'd be able to help you. I really don't.
Not that like you would get a guarantee, but is there like it's not something that you have to disclose, correct?
Right. Like there's a big misconception that we have to disclose all of these things. So most people assume that if a house is haunted, quotations, that we have to say that it's haunted, because there is no fact that it is haunted. It is always just somebody's opinion that it's their belief. So like me as a seller, I can't like, sure, I think it's haunted, but is it really haunted? I don't know. I don't think anybody can really tell you 100% that yes, this place is 100% haunted, because if the next person buys a house and they think that it's haunted because the seller told them that it's haunted, and that person never experiences anything, what are you going to do? Take them to court and say, hey, I bought this house because you told me it was haunted. I wanted my ghosts. I have no ghosts. So now I'm going to sue you for my ghosts. Like, that is just how ridiculous a lot of this stuff can get. Because you just have to, you have to always go with physical stuff. You can't go with like the psychological stuff. Like it's not 100% real. Like a crack in the wall, you can look at it and say that is 100% real. There's a crack there. But if there's a ghost, I can't tell you 100% there's a ghost in here or not. I really can't.
Okay, so leaving that like as is and saying we understand that nobody can ever prove to you the existence of a ghost, right? If they did, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Right.
It would just be a fact.
Right.
If we wanted to hedge our bets,
okay,
at either avoiding or owning, whichever one you're persuaded towards, a haunted house.
Yeah.
Could we potentially ask questions like, are there or have there ever been any historic burials on this property?
Yeah. You can definitely ask those types of questions. You could ask them all day long. The main issue is we only have to disclose physical stuff. We don't have to disclose stuff that is hearsay. If
there's a family graveyard, like a historic family graveyard on the property, that is physical stuff, right?
Yes, if there's a graveyard, things like that. Let me get to my section real quick.
While you're looking at your section, I'm going to tell you something funny.
Sure.
I have an cousin who owns a house in Lexington, Massachusetts, and there's a grave in her basement because we have a lot of first and second period homes here in New England. Really, it's as old as they get.
Right.
On this part of the world. And in the wintertime here, before we had heavy machinery that could break through frozen ground, because our ground gets properly frozen for several feet all the way down, a shovel was not going to do it. So if you had somebody who died in the wintertime, it was not, I wouldn't call it usual, but it's not unheard of to have that person end up either stored or buried in the basement over the winter months. So she has one of those. There's a headstone for it and everything. It's wild.
Oh boy. Well, that's a whole other issue, because again, that is something physical. It is something that is there, and you can definitely 100% see it. So a cemetery is not really a ghost story. A cemetery is something, it's property. It's a property rights issue. Like, yeah, it's a cemetery, but who owns that cemetery now? Who owns that body? Does the new homeowner own the body, or is it the property of the descendants? So in your deed, there would have to be some type of a thing saying we are giving up all rights to everything.
Wow.
Body, right, everything. Because, I mean, you got to have visitation rights. So if the descendant wants to come in, if they want to come in and visit, great grandpappy, but they can't because they no longer own that house, then there has to be some type of way for that person to have their legal right to go and do it. But again, that's very, very, like, how many people are really going to experience that? It's going to be a very small portion of the population that's really going to cause a stink over some great granddad that I've never met before, but I know he's buried in this house and I want to go see him. Gosh dang it, I'm on my way, but I can't because I don't own that house and the family doesn't own it. They sold it. So, like, that's never going to happen. Well, I wouldn't say never, but that's very unlikely for it to happen. But some states, they do protect family burial grounds, even on private property. There has been a few occasions where I've been to houses where there is some type of a little cemetery in the backyard, and there's like a little fence around it. So some states do protect family rights to be able to go and visit. Buying rural property without checking for old cemeteries can create an unexpected legal issue. So you can look at if you want to get a survey will definitely have that there is a cemetery there. Well, I wouldn't say definitely. I'll be 90% sure that they will say, hey, there is known to be a cemetery and here it is on the survey. The deed can definitely have that stuff too. Deed, you can just go into the registry's office at your city. Most of the time they're free. You can just go up there and be like, hey, can you give me the deed to map and parcel, and just give them the map and parcel number. And they'll be like, sure, here's all of the deeds from since the beginning of time. So, they didn't really start until like the 1800s, but I've seen some old deeds.
Here they do. Here we have some really old ones.
Yeah. But that type of stuff, again, physical, I would have to disclose if I know it's there. Because if there's a body in somebody's house that I have no idea about, the buyer didn't know about, the seller didn't know, like nobody knew that it was there and it was discovered, that's nobody's fault. Nobody just knew. The only person
that's
probably
crime scene.
The only person that probably would have known that there was a cemetery there would have been the person who sold it 6-7 generations ago. But what are you going to do? Sue them? Like they're
exactly.
You're not going to.
So what about like places where cemeteries have been relocated? So sometimes, it's not often, but sometimes you get like a public cemetery, a municipal cemetery, a church cemetery, something like that has been relocated to make way for highways or shopping malls or whatever they might be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% sure how that would get handled because, again, real estate agent, the only thing I can help somebody do is buy and sell a home. I cannot say that
like not my circus, not my monkeys.
I am not a lawyer. Don't take any of this information and say Lyle told me on the Halloween podcast, because this is all just my experience. I should get everyone on here to sign a disclaimer, really.
Yeah, legal disclaimer here.
Yes.
None of this is actual advice. It's just musings on how you might take personal responsibility for asking questions and finding the information that you're seeking.
Yeah.
None of his answers should be considered legal advice in any way.
Right. Yeah, but that type of stuff, I mean, I'm not 100% sure how that would be handled. I'm assuming that it would really depend on where it is located. If like in what's that movie, Poltergeist, they did away with the headstones, but the bodies were still there. If I bought that property, I mean, that person that developed it is in for a pretty big lawsuit for doing that. It will definitely ruin them for that. But of course, you have two options. You can either tell the guy and say, hey, I need you to remove all of these bodies. I don't care how much it costs you. If you damage my house, you better buy me a new house. Or build me a new one. Or you can just say, no, I'm cool with it here. I'm cool with the bodies being there. I think it's a neat story. You just leave them alone. And then they leave them alone. So again, it really just depends on the person that has had the wrong done to them. That will be the one that determines. Unless the state gets involved or the district attorney's office gets involved, then it becomes their issue now. If they want to pursue it, then they will go ahead and pursue it. But even if I say, no, I don't want to press charges, the DA already knows the DA is going to press charges if they want to. So I've heard.
And I would think, just from like historical research and things, that most town halls or like county historical societies would have information like that. Like they would know if there was a large cemetery there at some point.
Yeah.
They wouldn't necessarily be able to tell you the nitty-gritty details of everything that happened to it, but they would be able to probably at least say yes or no, there was something there at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to hide a body. I don't know if you knew this, but it is hard.
Especially a whole field of them.
Yeah, so let's say my great-grandparents lived on a property forever. That was their property, and their dream was to get buried there. When they pass away, if they passed away either at a hospital or if they passed away who knows where, there would have to be a trace of where that body went to. The body just doesn't magically disappear. Like either it was cremated or it got buried. Where did it get buried? It got buried here. All right, then there's where it is. But I can't just bury him in the backyard and say, I don't know what happened to his body.
I suppose now people are like cremating people and you wouldn't know where they would spread them, but that's a whole other kettle of fish.
Yes, well, you know what happened to them. They were cremated and now they're ashes. Like that takes up a lot less space than a actual
but you wouldn't probably have any way of knowing that was on your property or not.
No. If somebody were to sprinkle something under my tree in the front of my yard, like I would never know. Yeah. Ever.
All right. So, which brings us to our next question. Has anyone ever died or been fatally injured in this house or on this property?
Again, that type of stuff, it would have to be, again, physical. Because there's been a lot of homes where people have died in.
Oh, yeah, of course. I always say that as a historian. People go, somebody died here. I wonder if it's haunted. And I have to sort of remind people, everybody died in their home. Like, unless you died in an accident away from home, you died in your home. Until very, very recently, historically speaking, like people going away to die in hospitals or in nursing homes or something, historically speaking, is a very new phenomenon. Right. So if you're buying any kind of an old home or even some new homes, like odds are somebody died there at some point.
Yeah.
So that for me would not be a deal breaker.
Yeah.
But like what about violent deaths?
Like here
fatal accident or a crime.
Here in Tennessee, a seller is not required to disclose certain psychological stigmas. So if there was a homicide there, I don't have to disclose it that there was a homicide there. But if there was damage to the house because of the homicide, then yes, I would have to disclose that damage. So the example I gave you earlier, somebody committed suicide in a house. I don't necessarily have to disclose that there was a suicide unless I was asked. But if there's a bullet hole in the ceiling, then I would have to say there is a hole in the ceiling. And then you could ask the question of, well, how did that hole get there? I'll be like, I don't know. Let's go ask the seller. But if the seller bought it with not even knowing that ever happened either, they can easily say, I don't know. This is the first time I've ever seen that hole.
Never bothered me.
So there's that type of stuff. And that's kind of weird almost, but that is how Tennessee focuses on the physical defects, not ghost stories or stories at all.
It sounds very similar to Massachusetts, where like if you ask someone point blank, was there a suicide in this house or was there a murder in this house, they have to tell you. But a lot of the times if you just ask a random question, they don't have to like bring it up. Well, they're not responsible for bringing it up.
Sometimes you just don't know. Like as an agent, I don't know where murders have taken place here.
Yeah, they have to know about it.
I don't know unless it happened to the seller. They probably don't really know either. So if nobody knows, who are you really going to argue to? Like, we don't know. I don't know. They don't know. You don't know either. Nobody knows. So I'm sorry that it happened to you, but who are you going to go after if nobody knew?
Yes, yeah.
Like that's just what you have to think about. Like, I don't know where every single murder has taken place in Savannah. So I can't tell. The only thing I can do is say, get a subscription to newspapers.com and look up the house.
Yes.
And see if there's ever been.
Go to the local library, people.
Yeah.
Go to the local historical society.
Yes.
There will be people so excited that you turned up.
Yeah.
and they will help you figure all that out.
Again, talk to locals. Like if your agent ends up being a local that has been here for the past 40 years, then they might know. They might be able to tell you, like, yeah, I remember when I was growing up, so and so was over there and killed 10 people in that house. Now it's haunted.
Oh my
then
goodness.
then there you go. That is, but then again, that's hearsay until somebody proves it as fact. No, like
Yeah.
there was homicides there, 10 people died there, but then they say it's haunted. Okay, is it really haunted? I don't know. It has to stop at 10 homicides, and then that's it.
All right. So what if we try to be a little more subtle, right? What if we ask, what were the reasons given for the current or last owners / tenants vacating the residence? Can you tell us that?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't know if I'm not working with the seller. The only way I would really know is if I talk to the other agent, because we're technically not supposed to talk to the other party. Like me,
Really?
I'm representing, like, my buyer should not be talking to the seller's agent. They should be talking to me.
I did not know that.
And I should be the one that talks to the other agent.
Okay.
If there's any questions that you have specifically of this house for anything, I would not be able to ask the seller. I would have to go to the agent.
Through the agent.
And the agent, I would be like, all right, my client loves Halloween. So is there Halloween storage? Has there ever been any ghosts here? Why is this seller selling now? Can you answer these for me? And they'll be like, sure, I can. And then they will go. I tell a lot of my clients, we're basically parrots. You tell me what to say, I tell them. They tell me what they said, I tell you. I am just a constant parrot. Like, that's all I do. So if there's any specific questions, best thing to do is I'm just going to talk to the other agent. If they can answer it for me, great. If not, then I have to tell them, well, they didn't know. So your next bet is probably just go and talk to City Hall. Because if I tell them something, I can get in trouble if I'm not right. So I cannot answer a lot of those questions. I would have to just direct them to where they can find their answers. Like if they want to know where a pipeline is, I don't know. You're going to have to go to the city and find out where the pipeline is. Yeah. Because if I tell them, the pipeline is here, but it ends up being 10 feet away and they dug a hole, then I'm the one responsible because I told them it was here. But no, I didn't tell them that. I said, go to the city and you find where it is.
Yeah, and find it.
You need to do it yourself because I cannot, like, people are so sue happy that I just cannot do those types of things. It doesn't happen.
It is amazing, like, how much all of that, it just affects everything. Like, people being so litigious and wanting to sue everybody for every little thing has totally changed the way so many professions interact now.
Yeah.
With their clients, but also like professional to professional. Yeah. Sad in a lot of ways.
My broker told me that when he first started in real estate, this was like 30, 40 years ago, their contracts were only a page long. And as the years went on, it like now they're 10 pages long of just random stuff that has happened before that people have caused things with that they need to cover themselves. And then you need to cover yourself for this. You need to cover yourself for that. Most of my forms that I have anybody sign is stuff that covers me. And that's it.
Yeah.
Like all of your agents, that mountain of paperwork is mostly to cover them. And that is the sad reality that it's just dotting, crossing T's. So if somebody gets mad at somebody else, I'm not the one to blame. And that's all it is. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's kind of with anything really nowadays. Lawyers do the same thing.
Oh, for sure. Everyone does. Like my husband's a contractor. Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what if you wanted to just come out with it? Like you're looking to own a haunted house or you really want to avoid one. Can I just walk up to you and say, Lyle, have any current or past owners or tenants that you are aware of reported any paranormal activity in or around this property? And if so, what's the nature of it?
I would have to say I will ask the other agent and I will send them a message with that question. Depending on what they say is what I would repeat back. But anybody can have questions and we can find answers. It's not like if you ask a question, I'm not going to say I don't have to answer that. it's never one of those things where it's not something I don't have to answer. So if you have any questions, if anything has been haunted, I can definitely ask the other agent, but that would really just depend on if the seller knows, because I have rental properties that I've never lived in, so I don't have to disclose anything because I've never lived in that house. If the faucet leaks, I don't know. I don't live there. If there's a ghost there, I don't know. I've never lived there. I'm only there for 20 minutes fixing the sink, and then I'm gone.
Yeah.
The only time I ever know is if something happens. And most of the time, I don't even do anything. I don't even go to the house. I just send somebody else to go and do it. So I don't know. That's why my disclosure is called an exemption, where it basically says, I am not aware of any type of a thing. I've never lived in this house. I don't know. And then that gets put in the file. So when somebody asks, when a buyer asks the agent, they can say, well, let me look at the disclosure and see what the seller has said. And they'll be like, oh, it looks like it's an exemption. They can't answer anything. So if you ask me anything specific about the house, is there any creaks? Is there any ghosts? Is there trick-or-treaters? I'm going to say, I don't know. I don't live in that house. I've never lived in that house. I don't live in that neighborhood. I don't know. And that is the answer is I don't know. Maybe
so
not.
Again, back to the locals. Ask the locals. Ask the potential neighbors. Go to your local historical society. Go to your town hall. Those are the people you want to ask. So are there any, I know you're in Tennessee, but are you aware of any states that do have specific laws on the books in terms of disclosing haunted properties?
They are. Like that? In New York, there was that famous case, Stambrowski versus Ackley, the Ghostbusters ruling. The story is that in the 1970s, 1980s, owners of a Victorian house in Nyack, New York, publicly claimed that the house was haunted. So they spent a lot of their time saying, hey, my house is haunted. They did interviews, newspapers, this house is haunted, and we want everybody to know. The owner, went all over the place and said, yeah, they even did ghost tours at this house.
Oh, wow.
A buyer came along and purchased the house, but later discovered that it had a haunted reputation that the seller never told him about. So he sued, claiming he never would have bought in that house had he have known that it was haunted. The court ruled that because the seller had spent years publicly promoting it as a haunted house, that she suddenly couldn't pretend that the house was not haunted.
Normal, yeah.
That it was a normal house. So the buyer was allowed to back out of the deal because of it.
Wow.
So that is to go to say that if you want to claim that your house is haunted and then you go, I need to sell this thing, you cannot go back and say, my house is not haunted. I was, you would have to discredit yourself by saying, I made it all up. It was all joke.
In New York, as soon as you go public, all bets are off. You have to disclose it then.
Yeah, like a lot of these homes that are in like those TV shows, House Hunters, all of those things,
and all that stuff. Yeah,
all of those places, the house has to be sold haunted. There is no possible way that the person can come back and say, yeah, this house is not haunted, unless they really do go back and say, you know what, I made it all up. I was stupid and I just made it all up. So then the court will be like, well, they discredited themselves, but then the person that made the TV show can probably go back and sue them, saying, hey, we approached you for our television show. You told us this house, you experienced a lot of stuff. Now you're lying. So we are going to sue you for any damages that will happen. So that's kind of like you can't claim something and then immediately claim it's not just because it's going to benefit you.
Mm-hmm. Are there any states where, if you point blank ask them, they don't volunteer that information necessarily, but if you ask them, that they have to answer you with regard to that?
Well, most of the time, it's not a question of if they have to. It's a question if they're willing to. Most of the time, if somebody's going to say, hey, I think this house is haunted, and somebody asks me point blank, I'll probably say, yeah, I've heard some stuff, but again, I can't tell you with 100% certainty that it is or isn't. But most questions will get answered just because the person wants to sell the house.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where It can benefit you if somebody's actively looking for a haunted house. Then you want to be be sure that it is that the house is haunted. But then again, if the person that buys it never experiences anything, then you can get in trouble because you said it was haunted. Then it wasn't. That's why we have all of those things that you only have to disclose real stuff. You can't disclose like a ghost story. That's not.
Yeah.
It's not something physical that you can look at and see. So yeah, and then New Jersey has sellers don't have to volunteer paranormal claims. If a buyer asks directly, the seller and agent, they must answer honestly. So that can mean a lot of different stuff. If ghosts matter, don't assume that somebody will just bring it up. You have to ask.
Yes.
And I know it's going to sound weird for a lot of people in the real world that aren't in the comfort of the Halloween podcast. Here you can talk about it all you want, and we will be 100% for you. But if you go out in the real world and start talking about stuff that sometimes people feel uncomfortable with, then you can run into not issues, but you can get dirty looks. But of course, if you hire me as your agent and you want a haunted house, I'll be like,
we're on it.
Let's go find you that haunted house, dude. Let's go find it. But yeah, it really would just depend on the agent.
So are there states that have specific laws on the books that specifically say it does not have to be disclosed? Like you are not required to disclose that?
Well, Massachusetts, paranormal activity, murders, suicides, other psychological stigmas, they do not have to be disclosed. Massachusetts law specifically says those things are not material defects, kind of the same thing as Tennessee. Again, if there's a bullet hole in the ceiling, you have to disclose there's a hole in the ceiling.
There's a hole.
But if I don't know it came from a bullet hole, I don't know. I can't answer what I don't know. The only thing I can say is there's a hole up there. What caused it? I don't know. Bullet hole, termites, or carpenter bee, or it could have just been
pulled a light fixture out.
Yeah, could have been that. I was arguing with my kid and I lifted up the broom about to hit him and it got stuck up there. And there you go. That's how a hole got there. And then you'd have to go, okay.
Old school.
Yeah. But then if you say that and it's found out that it was due to a bullet hole, then you can get in trouble because you've now lied. But if you didn't really know, like, how are you really going to prove that you knew or you didn't know? Like, you don't know. It is what it is. In Minnesota, it excludes paranormal activity and psychological stigmas. They're not required, or they're, so it excludes all of that stuff from being in disclosures. Like, I don't think I've ever, like, in my disclosure forms, when I have, like, it gets to the point where I can't fill out one of those disclosures for a seller. I have to give it to the seller and say, here, this has to be 100% in your handwriting. You need to fill it out. Because again, I don't know. I don't live in that house.
Yes.
So, and I've read it. I've never seen any type of disclosure that says anything about murders, homicides, any arsons, or any hauntings, anything like that. That is not in a disclosure. It's only for material defects, foundation issues, cracks in the walls, lifted up floorboard, broken floor joists, anything like that. Like, that type of stuff will
anything
be there.
Physically, yeah, that makes sense.
But then again, you got to get your home inspection done.
Yes.
But the home inspector is not going to walk in there with one of those ghost hunting machines and be like, all right.
Wouldn't that be brilliant if they did?
Yeah.
It's like, this is an extra service. There's a fee.
Yes. Do you want the smudging? Would you like me to smudge while I'm here? Like, no, that doesn't happen. Oh my goodness. That's so funny. That only happens in the comfort of the Halloween podcast. It doesn't really happen in the real world. Unfortunately. It should, though.
Is there anything on what we've talked about already that you would like to add anything on? If not, I have one final question for you. I'm really hoping for a good answer.
Let's do your final question, and then I'll tell you a little story about an incident that happened at the office, the real estate office that I worked at.
This is it?
Yeah.
So my final question for you, Lyle, is, have you personally or anyone you have worked with as a agent who are like, you guys are in and out of countless houses, like more houses than any normal person would ever go in and out of in their lifetime. Have you ever experienced anything, or do you know of anyone you like in that field who's experienced something in a house or a property that was unusual or unexplainable?
I'm sure there is some agents that have experienced stuff. I have not talked to anybody that I know that's an agent that has experienced anything. There's been real life stuff that's happened. People have gotten firearms pulled on them. People have opened up doors and found people there that aren't supposed to be there. So there's really, really horrible stuff that does happen when you're out and about looking at all these houses. First day of training, I mean, you go into a house, they tell you how to do it. You always have to let somebody know where you're going, what you're doing. If you're being held up, and you can call the office, give them the code, and they'll immediately know, like, oh, wow, this person's in danger. Where were they? This is where they're at, yada, yada. So that type of stuff does happen. But I've been in creepy homes. I've been in old homes, Victorian homes. There's a house it's pretty much behind me, but it's behind me like 1,000 yards away. So it's like way back behind me, but it's kind of in the same general area that I've been to. It says it was built in like the 1800s, 1888 or something like that. But according to, or like it's probably older than that, but according to like the records that the state has, it's like from 1920 or something like that. But everyone says it's older. There's a plaque on it that says
I wonder if it was built on the footprint of an older house, or if it was a older house that was added on so much so that it's no longer recognizable. That kind of thing happens here a lot.
I think it was more or less because the city did not have records as far back as that. When they started records, that's apparently when the house was built. So there's no record of it. Like how are they really supposed to know that it was in the 1800s unless somebody says it, but then it turns into hearsay again. It's not on paper. So 1880 something or other. It's an old house. It's been empty for as long as I can remember, and it was for sale. It's an old historical home in the historical district. So all those homes they're all old homes.
Beautiful.
I had somebody who wanted to buy it. I said, "Great, let's go take a look at it." I walked around it. It's old. It's decrepit. Big rooms and tall ceilings. I mean, the ceiling's like 12 feet high. So it's an old home, and it's pretty cool. I walked around it. I did a whole 360 video of walking through it. It's on YouTube. If anybody wants to see it, just let us know, and we'll get it out. We'll post it if somebody says they want to see it.
Post the link in the show comments if you think.
Yeah, we can do that too. But well, I don't know. I don't know, because that also turns into another legal thing. Is that house is no longer for sale? But of course, nobody lives in that house.
Oh, and it's somebody's home.
Yeah,
I see.
No, somebody bought it, but nobody still lives in it. It's still, they put a new roof on it, and that's as far as the restoration went. So the person I was helping wanted to buy it and restore it, but she was a single lady, and she had a really good paying job. She really loved this home. She wanted to restore it, but she got too many bids saying that it was going to cost upwards of 6 figures to fix.
Oh, I bet.
To get it back up. And I was like, well, I don't know about that. But so yeah, we had a home inspection done. The home inspector went under the house and said, you know what? The bones are good. This is all good. So I was walking in that house. I didn't really experience anything, but my wife wanted to see it too. So I took her. So we all saw it. It was a cool house, old. Nothing really happened. There was a time where I was outside because I had a call, but they have a bathroom that there's 2 doors for the bathroom. One of them's on the outside, the other one's on the inside. So when I was standing out in the front yard, that door opened. I didn't see anybody there that opened it or closed it, but I just immediately assumed that it was my wife walking, because she walked into that bathroom probably, opened the other door, seeing where it led. It led outside, so they just closed it, and then they walked back through inside the house. Could have been that. I don't know. But there was, if I was by myself when that happened, then yes, I'd be like, there's somebody in this house. I need to go back in there, or it's a ghost.
Oh my goodness.
There was 2 other people in the house, so it could have been either one of them. There was another time I was in an abandoned school, where the school had been abandoned for, I don't know, years and years. And I walked by it all by myself. I did videos. I think I might even still have videos of walking through it. Nothing really happened. Just creepy. Being in there by yourself. I was waiting for my client. They showed up 30 minutes later. So that happened. But yeah, other than that, I haven't really had any experiences. I don't really know anybody else who's had experiences in homes that we've been in other than real normal life stuff. I do have a story of something that happened at my office where there was a home, an old historical home, and I got pictures of it. I showed you. You've seen it. It's a nice home.
Yes, I saw that picture.
And I don't know when that was built, probably in the 20s or something like that. But the house was on the market for like 90,000 or something like that. And needed a lot of work, of course. So nobody bought it. It was constantly being looked over. It was on the market for a while. So the guy, the agent, his name was Chase. Chase had the idea to put a sign on the front of the house that says "Not Haunted," and then it has his name and number and everything on it. So that when he put that up, it got the attention of so many online sites. Posted it on like funny things. It was like a big deal around town that somebody posted that. A lot of people were saying it was dumb, but then there was a lot of people saying I would definitely buy it if it was haunted. So it really got a lot of people talking about the house, and that's what we do as agents. We want people to be able to talk about this house and be able to tell our sellers like, hey, I did this, and man, I got thousands of eyeballs on this house. Was the house haunted? Probably not. I don't think it was. I mean, he even says not haunted. If he would have said haunted, that would be a claim. But then again, if the house wasn't, he put down the house is not haunted, and then the next person came in and said, yeah, this house is haunted, you lied to me, then they could be an issue. But who's really gonna
it's all subjective. Yeah. I feel like you can get away with that either way.
Yeah, but
one person's haunted is another person's. I don't believe that crap.
Yeah, but there's still pictures of it. I got pictures that I'll post.
That's so cool
of it. That it says not haunted. But yeah, and that I wasn't there for that. This happened years before I was even there. But they figured out that, or the people in the office figured out that I did the Halloween podcast, and then they started telling me about all of these things. Then they told me about that. But yeah, it was.
We should use that as our episode picture.
Yeah, I guess.
Jazz it up a little.
It has its phone number on it. But
you can remove that.
Yeah,
you can remove that.
But then again, I mean, that picture is everywhere. So his phone number's still. He's not an agent anymore. He hasn't been one for years.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he still has that number or not.
You can remove the phone number.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I mean, there really isn't much other than real world stuff where I've walked in houses that people are in that I'm not supposed to be in.
I know there was one. A friend of ours has someone he works with or whatever knows through life that is a realtor.
Yeah.
And he told us this story because it happened very close to where we live. But apparently they went into a house to set it up. They were meeting someone there to show it to them.
Mm-hmm.
And they went in the house, felt something that scared them enough that they literally came running back out of the house, past the person that they were supposed to show it to. Wow. I said, I'm not showing you that house. We're leaving right now. And has never refused point blank to go back to that house. So I would ooh, does that make you want to go in? Or just it's suddenly it has the world's most massive open house. But yeah, it's all spooky people.
It's one of those things that, I mean, again, 95% of everybody out there is not gonna actively go and look for any of this stuff. It's only a small few percentages that are gonna do it. Because if I were to tell my wife, she doesn't really do Halloween, that's my thing, and I'm pretty sure your husband is probably I don't know.
Yeah.
So
it's Megan's thing.
Unless
she'll do it because she loves it.
Yeah, unless you had a partner who loved it as well, then yes, you can actively go and search for the haunted stuff, or the Halloween is a deal breaker. But for somebody who has somebody that is not like that, like my wife, I could only imagine me telling my wife hey, we have to buy a house in this neighborhood because there's a lot of trick-or-treaters. She would look at
Yes.
me and say, are you out of your mind? And I'd be like, no, that is, my foot is down. That is the one I want. All right, here's the divorce papers. So,
I hope you and your 12-foot skeleton will be very happy together.
Yes, no, in the divorce, she'll take my 12-foot skeleton as a dig. She will take it from me.
That's so funny.
But yeah,
no,
I mean,
you're right.
Yeah, so it's not really something that most people would really have deal breakers on. But for us to fantasize about that type of stuff, yes, it definitely will be a deal breaker for me.
For a lot of people, it would be a deal breaker. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say it'd be a deal breaker to have my neighborhood be the epicenter of trick-or-treating. Yeah. But I would want to know that there is someplace local that I could take the kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Most towns will have something. I mean, it really just depends on the size of your town. Like little towns will definitely have either churches that do trunk or treats or things like that.
Yeah, someone will do something somewhere.
Yeah, big towns, I don't know. I haven't lived in a big town since I was a kid. Like in Anza, where we were before Savannah, that was a small town, rural area. 5-acre plots. Everybody had 5 acres, so our houses were always 5-10 acres apart. And now, like, I do live in a town. I live in a city, but it's small. There's like 6,000 people in town, so it's really not that many people. But I know where to go. It didn't take us long to figure it out. Facebook groups were a big help. Our agent wasn't a big help at all, really.
Oh, no.
But that's a whole other story.
Well, just like my only other advice for people, or my only other tip for people, is if you do find yourself having moved to a place where you don't have any of these things, or you would like them to be available, be a person. Like when I was living in Ireland with my husband, there was nothing really in our area for Halloween at all.
Yeah.
And I didn't have kids at the time. I'm just a person who's always loved Halloween. And so I wanted to make it fun. And I actually had to go to the point of sending out invitations to the houses in our neighborhood, in our village, to let people know we would be doing trick or treat. Please come to the house. And I mean, people didn't even really know how that worked because they'd never done it. Their traditions for Halloween were very, very different. They're more aligned with maybe like mischief night, where you would take a cabbage or a turnip or something and throw it at the neighbor's door to scare them.
Yeah.
And they would go around in, trash bags or cloths or whatever as their costumes. Nothing elaborate like what we have. So I even went as far as to get like treat bags made up in Irish Gaelic because that's what is spoken in our area. So I wanted to keep it. I was Americanizing it, but I was keeping some of the local Gaeltacht culture involved too. But yeah, we did. So we decorated our house every single year for Halloween. And then when we started our business, we started running Halloween events. So be that person.
Yeah.
It's not there and you want to see it, don't wait for somebody else to do it. You do it.
Yeah. And if that kind of gave me the idea, if we have a lot of listeners that are not in the U.S., so if you celebrate Halloween and you're in a different country, call the hotline and let us know what you do.
Yes, we want to know.
Yeah, we really want to know how you celebrate it in an area that really generally doesn't. Like, we want to...
Yes, how do you keep it going for yourself?
Yeah, and if your answer is, I just listened to the Halloween podcast, well, I mean, I guess still call, but I don't think we'd play it. We would thank you, though.
We might.
Yeah, maybe.
We might.
But yeah,
we would love to hear from you.
Yeah, so if you...
and one final thing, when we're talking about giving us a call, we have some plans for a UFO and alien-themed episode coming up.
Oh, yeah.
So wherever you are in the world, if you have had a close encounter, or if you have seen a UFO or what you believe to be a UFO, or if you know somebody who has, please call the hotline and tell us all about it. We want to hear.
Yes.
So definitely give us a call.
Yeah.
We would love to hear from you.
And we won't think you're weird because I have 3 different UFO stories that I'm going to tell.
Yes, Lyle will be participating in the story portion of that episode.
Yeah.
So you're right there with him.
Yeah.
So the hotline, in case you have forgotten, is 731-400-0472. So Call us. Let us know if you're in a different country that doesn't celebrate Halloween. How do you personally celebrate it? And if you have a UFO sighting, or if you have had a close encounter with an alien or know someone who has, please let us know.
Yeah. Or if you have any realtor questions about Halloween specifically, or if you bought a haunted house not knowing that it was haunted, we definitely want to know, because I did find a case in the newspapers that kind of happened, and we're going to tell you about it in the mini-sode. Well, it's no longer the mini-sode. We now have a new name for it, for the show that takes place on Friday. So come back for that, and you're gonna dig it.
You're gonna love it. We'll speak to you then, everyone.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Call the hotline, email us. It's all there. And yeah, until then, we'll see you later. Have a good night.
Have a good night.